The Pedal Power Association, one of South Africa's largest cycling organizations or associations, has jumped on to support senseless deaths of cyclists on South African roads. This came after a driver allegedly struck and killed a cyclist on the pavement in Johannesburg, dragging him for some 30 meters on the road. This has not been an isolated incident, as many other cyclists have been killed while on the road. Supporting action group Stop Killing Cyclists SA organization, the Pedal Power Association says that cases like these require proper investigation and harsher sentencing. They've also invested millions of rand in stakeholder engagement to educate motorists on the vulnerability of cyclists on the road. The chairperson of the Pedal Power Association, Mr. Steve Hayward, now joins us via Zoom to tell us how they've been hard at work in ensuring that no more cyclist deaths occur. Steve, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning, Peewee.
Well, quite a number of cyclists die on the road due to negligent drivers. Take us through the silent protest that you held outside the Randburg Magistrate Court earlier in the week in protest against the senseless deaths of cyclists on South African roads.
We want to bring to the attention of the judicial system in this country that there seems to be, cyclists don't seem to matter on the road as far as deaths are concerned. We've had many cases that people have got off with very light sentences. Whenever the Pedal Power Association has got involved and appointed an attorney and an advocate, we find that the case has not been investigated properly and not enough evidence has been brought to the court's attention. And we've seen this very clearly. In the cases that we've got involved in, it's clear that we get a much better conviction. Whereas with other cases that end up in front of magistrates, there's very little that happens. We had a case just outside Carletsdorp a few years ago where a driver killed 3 cyclists and the case was dismissed. That's just one of them. And what PPA is doing, and we're spending millions of rand in trying to educate motorists with our Safe Cycling campaign on how to be aware of cyclists, how to give them more space as they park, because as you know, cyclists are vehicles. So we do have the right to be on the road. Understandably, there are a number of cyclists, but they are the minority that do not behave properly and do not obey all the traffic rules, that ride up 2 to 3 next to each other, which is against the law. But you must remember that the majority of the cyclists out there do behave properly.
Now, Steve, do you not think that the inaction in prosecution is as a result of a lack of evidence? Because in most cases, these incidents happen on open roads where there's a less likelihood of, of street cameras to capture that particular incident. And it's normally a hit and run. I guess then that a lack of evidence is a result of that inaction in prosecuting those cases. Is that not the case?
Well, it is to a certain extent, yes. Our recent case down on Strandfontein Road here down in the Cape, an 18-wheeler took out a young guy and he was killed. There was only another cyclist. Normally cyclists are riding together and the one survives than the others, and that evidence should be used. But we would appeal to other motorists who witness these accidents is to stop and help the cyclists that are still left on the side of the road, to give them their names and act as witnesses. We understand that people don't want to take time out of their lives to get involved in cases. But, someone that's died has a mother, a father, a wife, and children. They deserve to be treated properly by getting the case closed and the right action taken against the erring driver.
Do you think that enough has been done in terms of investigations when it comes to these killings?
No, I don't think so. I think the thing is that, maybe the police are short-staffed and they just don't have the time to what they consider is a minor offence when they've got so many other murders and other things to deal with. And so we would appeal to people who do have accidents that they should contact the Pedal Power Association at www.info@pedalpower.org.za for for help. We would certainly help anybody that has got a valid case that we can help them with.
And having said that, helping people who've got a valid case, and besides ensuring that cyclists are safe, what are some of the core purposes of your association?
Well, Pedal Power Association is the largest cycling organisation in South Africa, and we, the organisation that started the Cape Town Cycle Tour, the old Argus as it was known, we put on events, we look after commuting, we hand out bicycles. We've handed out millions of bicycles to underprivileged people who have no forms of commuting. We hand out helmets to them, we hand out lights, and we provide people that are, at the moment, we're giving bicycles to groups that are feeding people at home, and we look after commuting, cycling, racing, and all events that are staged in this, in the Cape Peninsula and throughout South Africa, wherever we can help.
And how are your funds as an association distributed for the benefit of cyclists?
Well, our funds are, we do the purchasing of bicycles and we hand the bicycles out. Our income comes from membership fees, and we do get donations. We've got Toyota and the Road Accident Fund at the moment that are helping us sponsor handing out masks so that cyclists who cannot afford masks, we stand in certain areas throughout the country and we're handing out these wonderful little Pedal Power and Toyota masks to those people. So wherever cycling in any form whatsoever, that is where Pedal Power will be found, assisting those communities and people.
So for all those cyclists out there and any other interested party that may want to help this particular cause, how do they go about doing that?
Well, they should contact us on info@pedalpower.org.za, and they can contact us and we will assist them in any way that we can.
So what kind of programs do you have in place insofar as ensuring that the message reaches the intended persons?
We have many places that we stand at service stations where people are refueling. We hand out little brochures to them about how to be aware of cyclists. We have been to the bus companies here in Cape Town and we've given them a little talk on how the bus drivers should be careful of cyclists. We have a safe cycling campaign that is also on the website called Safe Cycling. And we try and educate motorists to be careful about cyclists. We also ask cyclists to adhere to the proper rules and regulations, to wear bright clothing, to wear lights when the lights get dim. And that's the objective that we want to do, is to be able to share the road with everybody so that everybody can share the road without irritating. I know motorists think that cyclists are an irritation on the road, but we're out there enjoying it, as your previous speaker said. Today, we'll have cyclists all over the show enjoying the sun for more than 30 minutes. It's a wonderful way to get fit. Beg your pardon?
All right, Steve, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that was Steve Hayward talking to us about how they are giving support in the fight against the killings of cyclists on SA roads.